All right, NFL Week 18 preview. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I'm ecstatic. You guys know I'm a Vikings fan. You guys know, obviously, what is on the line for that game. We'll get to that game. There's a lot of games to discuss. It's Friday afternoon, the first Friday of 2025. Hopefully, everybody is having a great start to the year. I'm having a good start to the year. A couple New Year's resolutions, which we'll get to. But like I said, hopefully everybody's having a great start to the year. There's a lot of football to discuss. Now, I will be honest, whenever we discuss a lot of these games, I will be discussing I will be discussing more of like team outlooks rather than breaking down, like a Carson Wentz Chiefs team in terms of, what they're going to do offensively against the Broncos, because I'm going to be honest, I don't know what they're going to do, and nor does anybody. It's you're really best guessing about the Carson Wentz-led Chiefs, for example. But there's a lot on the line this week, so I'm going to go ahead and just tweet the link out that we are, in fact, live for the Week 18 preview. And the first game we are going to discuss, we are going, of course, in chronological order, like we always do. So we're going to start off with one of the biggest games of the year. And that is the Chiefs. That is Browns Ravens. Now, with this game, it's going good, by the way. It's going good. How's it going? What's up? Love seeing you. Oh, I am active a little bit in the Vikings Discord. Let's hope we get a dub. I'm with you. But yes, I'm a little active in there. You gotta, let everybody know, we are indeed back. What's up, guys? All right. So, not gonna lie, I can't tweet the link out. Oh, wait, there it is. All right, for disregard, we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go straight up. Browns Ravens, guys. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is starting for the Browns. I don't have too much to say here regarding Cleveland, and I would imagine we all feel the same way, kind of regarding the Browns in this game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I will go ahead and just say on record that I think he is, unfortunately, he's just one of the worst quarterbacks I've seen at this, in the 2024 season. I mean, I thought Deshaun Watson was bad, and he wasn't good, to be clear. But lifetime Dorian Thompson-Robinson has 1 touchdown to 10 interceptions. The Ravens are, they're, almost 3 touchdown favorites for a reason. And I know people don't like to gamble, and I get that, but my point is, you don't see 3 touchdown lines often in the NFL. And this is very, very rare territory where you see a team this favored over a regular season game. It is must win for the Ravens, because then they would have to rely on the Bengals to beat the Steelers. I feel pretty confident in this one. This is actually, if I had to choose any game all season, when you factor in what's on the line in terms of who I think is going to win, guys, I think the Ravens are going to absolutely they're going to take care of business. They are nearly 3 touchdown favorites for a reason. The truth says Baltimore wins by a ton. I would agree with that. DTR needs a real good quarterback coach. He needs a lot. I don't think they're going to win. It's just going to be a tough one. What's up, Justin? How we doing? Is this the last game of Aaron Rodgers' career? We'll get to that in a minute. But there's not a lot to say other than that I think the Ravens beat the Browns, and I know Browns fans would have to feel the same way. They're 3-13 for a reason. The Ravens are on the cusp of winning the AFC North. They're one of the more successful franchises year in and year out for a reason. So, not a lot to say about that game in particular. Not a lot to preview. But if you guys are enjoying, please drop a like. Helps the channel tremendously. And we're almost at 100 people in here, so let's just go ahead. Let's just get it going. Let's get everybody in here. Only question is, Ravens rest their starters the second half. I would agree with that. That's really one of the only questions. Will the real Steelers stand up? That is a valid question. Now, the Steelers are 10-6. The Bengals are 8-8. And what I think is key about this game is the Bengals are favored on the road. And with the Bengals favored on the road, that is I feel like that's like eye-opening in terms of, how Vegas views where these teams are, because generally the home team will get like a 2.5 or 3 point, if you go base, that's how it goes. So for the Bengals to not only be 1.5 point dogs, but to be 1.5 point favorites and to be on the road in a must-win game, I think that kind of says a lot about where the Steelers are. And there is a very real chance, if you are a Bengals fan watching this game, if you're watching your team play, that unfortunately this could be the final game we see of the trio of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. And I hope those 3 play together next year, but that's a very real possibility. And what I will say positively for the Steelers because it's obviously been a dreadful couple of weeks, and it's not ideal to play the Eagles, Ravens, and Chiefs in a 10 or 11 day span, especially, you have a Sunday, Saturday, and then a Wednesday game. That's not ideal for anybody. And then, you get embarrassed at home on Christmas on Netflix in front of everyone. That's unfortunate with the Steelers. Now, they've dealt with their fair share of injuries, but I will say positively they are getting healthier as the season goes on. Their secondary is getting a little better. They will have George Pickens in this game, and they did not have George Pickens for a couple of games. George Pickens right now is at 900 yards on the year. Which obviously means he's 100 away from 1,000. I think George Pickens is a really, really good receiver. I think this matchup favors him, and I think this is actually going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Not necessarily as high-scoring as it was last time, just because last time it was like 44-38. The Steelers had over 500 yards of offense. I'm not expecting that type of game, but with the Bengals season on the line, if they lose, they're eliminated, and granted, they still need some help to get into the postseason. I am going to take the Bengals in this game. I think it's going to be really close, but sweeping the Bengals is incredibly hard, and the Steelers, like we said, they beat them earlier in the year. I'm going to go with Cincy to win this game. Curious where you guys stand on this. Kyle says the Bengals have no chance at the playoffs. I would agree with that, but that doesn't mean the Bengals are going to roll over and just say, you know what, we're out. Let's just go out and help the division rival Steelers. I'm still going to go with the Bengals to win. I think it's going to be really close. And I think it's going to be a really good game. And in terms of, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, week 18, I feel like this is everything that the NFL could hope for. But what I will also say for the Steelers is if they lose this game, and which is very possible because, again, they are underdogs at home for a reason, and then you have the Chargers beat the Raiders, which we'll preview it in a little bit. The Steelers are the 6th seed, and at that point, they would go to Baltimore in the wild card round, and there is a monumental difference between going to Baltimore in the wild card round and going to Houston in the wild card round. And I know you can justify it if you're a Steelers fan and say, well, we know the Ravens, obviously we know each other well, and we beat them when we were healthier earlier in the year. But I think I'd rather go to Houston than I would Baltimore, and that should not be a hot take. But like I said, I think the Bengals are going to win this one. And now for some of these other games, guys, there's a lot to unpack, I guess, in terms of what they're going to do this offseason. The Jags are 4-12. The Colts are 7-9. They will be starting Joe Flacco in this game, and we're going to be discussing more season outlook here, or off-season outlook. There was recently a pretty big article that came out about the Colts, just talking about the infrastructure of the team, or not the infrastructure rather, but what's going on inside the building is what I meant to say. And that is not good. Everything that came out about the Colts, and they were just basically saying a lot of, DeForest Buckner said something to the effect of, I re-signed here because he believed in Anthony Richardson, and then he said something to the effect of, AR, like, we need you to do your part, we're doing our part, and then, of course, you had the whole AR check out of the Texans game earlier in the year, which was a nightmare. The Colts are in a very difficult situation, all of that to say. They're 7-9. I would imagine they're going to beat the Jags. I don't think the Jags at this point are that good, outside of a couple of players, of course, Brian Thomas Jr. being one of them, and we have a video releasing tomorrow at 10 a.m. discussing Brian Thomas Jr. and a couple of other 2024 draftees. But I would imagine the Colts come out and win this one. Although I will say, if the Colts lay an egg like they did last week, because last week, I will be honest, in terms of how they looked at New York, that was pitiful. There was no effort. There was just people not caring, and you could see it. You could see it on the field. And if they play like that against the Jags, a division opponent the season's not on the line, obviously, but with their pride on the line, with the coaches' jobs kind of on the line, then I think we're going to see a complete just sweeping of just clean house for the Colts. And that unfortunately could include Shane Steichen. We'll see though. But that's it's a tough one. I would imagine the Colts win this one. All right, let's see here. I want to go over a couple comments. Anthony Richardson needs to be traded. Smash that like button, everyone. Good call. I would agree with that. Bass forever. Good call. Love the content. As a Steelers fan, if we lose this, I fully expect to lose in the wild card round. We're on a terrible losing streak and desperately need to stop this negative momentum. So I am actually under the belief that if the Steelers draw the Texans, they can beat them. But if they draw the again, if they draw the Ravens, then I think they're going to lose. But if it's pretty much like, hey, like we have to draw the Texans for a chance. I mean, the Texans right now, I don't have any confidence in at all. And I would imagine that pretty much everyone feels the same way about the Texans right this particular second, with all of the injuries they have, with just how the past couple of games have been played for them. I mean, they're coming off a 31-2 loss on Christmas at home against a premier team. That doesn't give me any confidence at all in the Texans moving forward at all. Let's see here. Thoughts on the Jags rebuild. I'm not going to give you like, oh, well, we're going to do a 15 to 20 minute video on that, even though we are. But the Jags right now, I really think there's a outside chance that they get Ben Johnson. And if I am Ben Johnson, I think the Jags situation is pretty appealing. Because if you look at the division, if you look at the AFC South, the Colts right now are a train wreck. They have not won a playoff game since 2018. Everybody has won the division twice. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Everybody, there's a stat. It's something to the effect of everybody has won the division twice since the Colts last won, or it's something like close to that. I don't know if they won the division in 2018, but the Jags won the division with Trevor in 2022. And then the Titans, of course, had their run in the late 10s to early 20s, and the Texans, of course, are now back-to-back. And I think if you include 2017, so I think Chris Ballard took over in 2017, and then the Jags won in 2017 and 2022, and then everybody else. So everybody's won a division title twice since Chris Ballard took over. And why I bring that up is I think that makes the Jags rebuild a little enticing if you are a potential head coach in Ben Johnson, because the Titans are not a good situation. The Texans they're solid, but they're not elite. And then the Jags are the Jags. You have Trevor Lawrence, you have Brian Thomas Jr., you have an owner that is very clearly willing to spend. So I think the Jags rebuild situation is a little more enticing than some people may realize. And I don't think it is all doom and gloom. Now, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is ever going to be, the Mahomes, Allen Lamar, or in the 2024 season case, the Allen Lamar Burrows of the world. But I think he's better than what we saw in 2024. So, like I said, for a lot of these games, we're going to discuss just outlooks for the franchise rather than the actual game. And that's just how it's going to go. Let's see here. If I'm Ben Johnson, I would take the Jags job. I get to pick my GM. No chance I would work with Balky. Very fair. I would agree with that, by the way. I mean, I would do the exact same thing. Let's see. Hey, dude, love the content. Get here early today. Let's hear Vikes Lions. We'll get there. I mean, we're going in chronological order, unfortunately. But Giants, Eagles. I mean, guys, there's not a lot to say here. The Giants and Eagles are... Oh, it's actually snowing outside. But anyway, Giants are 3-13. They looked good last week. Credit to them. Malik Neighbors is electric. Again, we will be releasing a video tomorrow discussing the 2024 draft class. Malik Neighbors is, of course, in the video, and I'm looking forward to sharing that one. But if I'm the Eagles in this game, you have no chance at the 1 seed. I am resting everybody. I don't really have a lot of like bold takes where I talk like people on TV where, let me scream this take into the mic. But I will scream one take, and I think it is truly idiotic if they play Saquon Barkley in this game to go for the record against a 3-13 team, because what if Saquon goes out first snap? I'm just talking out loud here. What if he has a torn ACL and then he's done for 2025 as well? Rest everybody. You don't have a first-round bye. You are probably going to play the Packers next week, which is not an easy game. I know people get caught up in the Packers losing to the Vikings and Lions twice and then the Eagles back in week 17 and automatically assume that Green Bay is going to be one and done. I don't think that's the case. If I am Philadelphia, I am resting everybody that I can. And that's where I stand on this. The Giants rebuild is, it's going to be a long rebuild. We can just call that what it is, especially with the fact that they won a game last week, and you can't tell a team to go out and tank and say, hey, Drew Lock, there's money on your family's plate, or there's food on your family's plate, go ahead and stink this one up so we can get rid of you in a couple months. It doesn't work like that. But I think the Eagles are favored by 3. I still feel like the Eagles win this game, but I hope for the Giants' sake that the Eagles win. But if I'm the Eagles, I'm resting everybody. Do I think Dable is gone? I feel like yes. I don't know. Joe Shane. Here's the thing: is I'm not a Joe Shane guy. I'm not. Joe Shane has He botched the 2022 draft. He botched the 23 draft. 24, he hit on big time. But is it too little too late? I would venture to say yes. And then if you look at, Brian Daboll, I think you have to kind of go back to the point of look at the talent on the roster and look what he did when he actually had a smidge of talent back in 2022. So I think Daboll stays. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the super comment. Hurts to be an Eagles fan. If you are looking to add a comment with that, I didn't see it, but let me know. There we go. I'm starting to get very concerned about Jalen Hurts' health. I'm not going to comment on, a player's health, especially with something that I don't know. But I feel like, based on what we've heard from the media, I feel like that's a very fair and legitimate concern at this point. I will say that. All right, let's see here. Let's go to the next game. Appreciate the super chat. I hope Philadelphia knows what they're doing. I do too. It's a tough situation right now because, Jalen Hurts is probably going to enter the postseason 3 weeks, no reps, which is tough if he plays in the postseason. So we'll see. All right. And if you guys are enjoying, please drop a like. Appreciate everyone joining. Appreciate everyone being here on Friday, week 18. And by the way, if you are wondering, we will be doing a wild card preview as well. And we're going to discuss each game. We're going to discuss, next week, of course, because there's obviously a lot more on the line for every game next week. So hopefully you guys are enjoying. And like I said, please drop a like if you are. All right. Aziz Al-Shair is back for the Texans. Appreciate that. Golden Sharks. Appreciate the update. And we have Texans Titans. If I am the Texans, it's pretty simple. You have the AFC South locked up. You have the 4 seed locked up. Rest everybody. Best case scenario, and I mean the best case scenario, the Titans win. The Titans win. You finish the year 9-8. I honestly don't know what the Texans are thinking internally right now. I know what I'm thinking, and I think they are destined for a first-round exit. Although CJ Stroud is not thinking they're a first-round exit, but look, rest the starters. Don't play anybody. And in the best case scenario, the Titans win and go from the first or the second pick to maybe the 4th or the 5th, and it's a win-win scenario. But for the Titans worry me a lot. Their future is very concerning. And like I said, we will break. There's going to be a lot of content coming up soon in terms of like the offseason rebuild outlooks, and especially once the draft order is finalized, which should be, after Sunday, it'll be finalized for the non-playoff teams, which is what we're after. So there's going to be a lot of content coming out soon on non-playoff teams, which I am admittedly very much looking forward to. But the Titans' future, I think Ran Carthon should probably be, his seat should be warm. The roster underperformed this year. You have a first-year head coach that at best is going 4-13. And one of those wins, a quarter of your wins will be against it. If they win this game, will be against backups. The Titans' future scares me a lot. Let's see here. Do a video on poverty franchises, Titans, Cardinals, Raiders. I have to be honest, I don't think the Cardinals are poverty, but there will absolutely be a video on a lot of those teams coming up. All right, how we doing, Danny? What's up? Let's see here. Happy birthday, Eric. What's up, man? Love the content. Keep up the good work. I got you. Appreciate the support, and happy birthday. Hope you're having a good one. Big 2-4. Next year, you will be able to rent a car. So big stuff coming up. All right. Let's see what else. What other comments do we have here? Really excited what the Titans will do on offense this offseason. They're going to be an interesting team because there's a chance that Ran Carthon trades for either Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. I think there's a legit chance that he says my job is on the line. I have to make a change at quarterback because obviously Will Levis is not it. And we'll see what happens from there. But I think there's a chance that the Titans try to go all in. As much as they can, of course. All right. Bills, Patriots. The Bills are favored by 2.5 despite starting Mitch Trubisky. There was a take today. I want to actually read this word for word. Not a take. It was an actual quote. It was about Gerard Mayo. As you guys know, I am not the biggest Gerard Mayo fan. I just think that there is a lot of better head coaching, candidates out there than what Gerard Mayo is. But there was a quote. It says that Gerard Mayo is prioritizing a win over the first overall pick, and Drake May will start. Now, I saw recently that Drake May was questionable. That was per Ian Rappaport. And Derek Carr is officially out. That's the Saints. So Drake May, questionable with a hand injury. I think this is very much a game for Jerod Mayo where you look at this and say, if they don't perform, then I think he's gone. Because this is against backups. This is a coach that I already have questions with. And I would imagine that Robert Kraft is not happy at all with what they saw from Jerod Mayo for most of this year. And I think you look at the situation and you say, okay, well, who's a better head coaching candidate right now? Jerod Mayo, or who's a better head coach right now? Jerod Mayo or Mike Vrabel as a candidate, or Ben Johnson as a candidate, or whoever as a candidate, right? And I am under the belief that if there is a decision that has to be made eventually, which would be replacing Jerod Mayo, I would say go ahead and just get it out of the way. So if the Patriots lay an egg in this game against the Mitch Trubisky-led Bills, and I think there's actually a chance that Josh Allen plays a series or two because he has a consecutive starting streak on the line. But the point is if Josh Allen plays a series and he plays 10 total plays out of 70, and you can't beat the Bills at home, there's a problem. There is a problem. So I think the Patriots are going to win this one because I think they're going to be playing for their head coach's job in a lot of ways. And I have a lot of concerns with the Patriots moving forward. I think Alex Van Pelt has been up and down as the offensive coordinator this year. The left side of the line is atrocious with Vidarian Lowe and Layden Robinson. They've also dealt with some injuries up front. But the Patriots roster, all in all, is bad. And I also don't think they've improved at all this year, and that would go on coaching. And there's a lot of concerns I have with the Patriots, and they can fix a lot of it this offseason if they bring in T. Higgins, if they bring in Chris Godwin or Stephon Diggs or Ronnie Stanley or Cam Robinson. And then the best case scenario for them would be, of course, to lose this game in the long term. That way you can trade back and get a little more draft capital. But I really think the Patriots are going to win, and that's going to hurt what they're doing. And this is all under the assumption, by the way, if Josh Allen only plays like 5 or 10 plays and just to get the consecutive streak starting, going, because that's kind of what it's about at this point for the Bills. They are going to be playing in January. They may go to the AFC Championship game. They may even go to the Super Bowl. This game does not mean much to the Bills. Just get out of it healthy. That is the only thing that matters. But this means a lot to the Patriots. It really means a lot. All right. In your opinion, where would Jon Gruden get hired? Appreciate the super chat, Brian. All right. So that is an interesting one. Discussing Jon Gruden. I have to be honest. I don't think Jon Gruden would go back to coaching unless he has there's never going to be a 10-year, $100 million offer like there was back in 2018 with the Raiders. He's not going to get that type of offer. But unless there is a 3 or 4 year commitment and basically saying, hey, Jon Gruden, here's $40 million, not 100, but 40. I don't know if a team would give him that at this point. But where would he get hired? I think him being in Chicago would make a lot of sense. I think that is something the Bears would do. And I don't mean that in an offensive way because the Bears are a very frustrating organization to watch from afar. But if you brought in a veteran head coach that has won a Super Bowl, granted 20 years ago, but won a Super Bowl, and a guy that obviously knows the game through and through, and a guy that you can clearly tell that Jon Gruden, especially on YouTube, that he watches the games and is not just casually looking at numbers and saying, oh, okay, this guy threw for 274 yards and, he's better than this guy who threw for whatever. Jon Gruden is watching games, and you can tell, and you know that when you listen to him talk about whatever is going on. I think the Bears would make the most sense for him. But I prefer him to stay in the media. I think Jon Gruden is electric in the media. All right. Bring out the Vikings. Let's go Lions. Appreciate you. We'll get there. I promise. We will get there. Vids are great. Appreciate it, Kyle. Let's see here. Jerod Mayo is a bad coach in spite of the team being bad. I'm not a fan of... I think it's both. Bad roster, obviously, but also bad coach. Let's go ahead and go to Panthers Falcons. Let's go ahead and go to Panthers Falcons. All right. This is going to be pretty quick. I think the Falcons win. It's must win for Atlanta. The misconception that I thought there was a misconception with the Panthers recently where people were saying that the Panthers were playing good because they were losing close games. But guys, they're still 4-12. Bryce Young has only thrown, at least it's 10 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. And they're playing okay. They're improving, but I don't think they are playing great by any means or good by any means. They're improving, but I think they're playing okay. I would consider this a good, solid effort for the Panthers if they lose by like 4 points or less. I don't want the Panthers to win this game strictly from a draft order standpoint. There was also, I want to specifically discuss this because I want to just talk about like, a real life situation. There was somebody on the Panthers, I think, let me just confirm this before I go out and say DJ Johnson was involved. This is a Panthers defensive player. He was involved in a car accident, not sure in his condition, but not life-threatening. So we, of course, wish DJ the best. And I don't know if he's going to play. I would imagine not, but we wish DJ the best in terms of his, recovery and well-being from that. I just wanted to highlight that, real-life things happen. But the Falcons, it's must win. They lost last week to the Commanders on Sunday night. This is another team that I have a lot of questions with at head coach, especially with Raheem Morris. I don't think he is a good head coach. Clock management has always been a problem with Raheem, and we saw it last week. We saw it on full display last week that the clock management was definitely something to pay attention to, and that I don't know if it's going to improve, and I think you can argue that most high school students right now, by playing Madden, by having 6 or 7 years of experience of Madden, would have managed the clock better than what Raheem did last week. Now, for anybody that may take offense to that, I'm not saying that they know more ball than Raheem Morris, because obviously they don't. My point is, from a clock management standpoint, you had a chance to win the game, and it went to overtime, and Zach Ertz caught a touchdown, and you have to rely on the Derek Carless Saints to beat the Bucs to have a chance at winning the division. And I think we all know that that's probably not going to happen. I do have a lot of questions about the Falcons moving forward. I think they win this game and finish 9-8, which is an improvement off the 7-10, but kind of at what cost? And that's my frustration with the Falcons. There's just a lot wrong with the Falcons right now, or at least just a lot of frustration. All right, let's see here. Gruden would break Caleb Williams' bad pair. Appreciate the super chat, Bass Forever. And also appreciate you telling everybody to drop a like earlier. So if you are enjoying, like I said, please drop a like. Let's get it up to 100. Hopefully everybody is having a great Friday. Great start to the year. Let's see here. So the question is where would Gruden go? But I don't think Gruden is leaving the media. I mean, he looks to be having, every video you see of him at Barstool Sports, he looks to be having a great time. So I don't think Gruden's going to go anywhere, but that was, if I had to answer the question, that's what I would say. I would think the Bears would make the most sense. All right. Wasn't Atlanta 7-3 at one point? They were, I think, 6-3. I think they were 6-3. All right. Let's see here. A lot of coaches are bad at the clock. Some of them are worse than others, and that's not good. All right, let's see here. What is the Justin Fields comments? I see Justin Fields comments. I saw thoughts on Justin Fields' next move. Honestly, I think this is an interesting one. I would be pretty surprised if he's not. I don't think he's going to return to the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to bring Russ back, and we'll get into the Steelers later at some point, like their future and everything. I think Justin Fields going to the Raiders. Nicholas just commented this. Good thought process, Nick. I think the same thing. I think Justin Fields going to the Raiders makes a lot of sense for him, for the Raiders. It kind of buys them a year while also potentially giving them a chance to have a Sam Darnold type player on their hands. I don't think that would happen for Justin Fields in Las Vegas, but I think that would sell hope to the fan base that desperately needs it if Las Vegas does not land Shador or Cam Ward. So I think the Raiders makes a lot of sense. All right, Bears-Packers. The Bears are going to do it, guys. They're going to go from 4-2. A Hail Mary tip should have been 5-2. Didn't get it. Tariq Stevenson waving at the fans, telling them to go home, waving them goodbye, to 4-13. They're going to do it. They haven't beat the Packers. I mean, Matt LaFleur is undefeated against the Bears. So they have not beat the Packers this decade. I know time flies. We are halfway through the decade. We are now in 2025. They have not beat them in the 2020s. It's not changing. It's not changing in this game because there's a chance that if the Packers win and if the Commanders lose, that Green Bay would go to presumably LA. And I will say this, I'm not trying to discredit the Rams, but I think they would rather go to SoFi and play the Rams than they would to go to the Link and play the Eagles. I would imagine we all feel that way about, if you are an NFC team, you would rather play the Rams than you would the Eagles. You don't have to deal with the Eagles crowd. You don't have to deal with that home field advantage the way you would in Philly. Green Bay's playing to win. They are going to win. Chicago is I mean, guys, it's just a lost season. I never would have thought they would go 4-13, especially with the schedule they had. I mean, they had several winnable games down the stretch. Several. Started out 4-2. I mean, I know a couple of those wins were over the Panthers and Jags, and you get the point, but just a lost season, man. And we're going to break everything down with the Bears this offseason. They have two candidates they need to hire. One of Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel. I don't care who. You have to bring in one of those guys if you are the Chicago Bears. If you care about winning for once, which I know there's going to be a lot of people that dunk on the Bears, rightfully so. They deserve to get dunked on based on how they run their organization. They really do. But that's your priority this offseason, is Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel. But the Packers are going to win. Justin says Green Bay needs to win, if not for seeding, then just getting the footing right again. I would agree with that. That's where I stand. My Packers, what's up, AK? How much of the Bears' misfortunes are on Caleb? There's definitely some. Like, I don't want this to be a Caleb is the victim of the Bears, and that if he goes to the Commanders, that, if Caleb, because Caleb's from DC, I don't know if you guys know that, he's from the DC area. If Caleb goes to the Commanders, that he's 35 touchdowns as a rookie, and he's making Jaden Daniels look like light work what he did. That's not the case either. Caleb certainly has fault, but is Caleb getting sacked 67 times entirely on him? Is some on him? Yes. But is it entirely on him? No. I mean, there was the play that I think summarizes the Caleb Williams 2024 experience best. On primetime against the Vikings, Kieran Omagaji, a third-round developmental tackles at left tackle because I want to say Braxton Jones was out. Jonathan Grenard, who made the Pro Bowl, is on him one-on-one, no help, no chip, nothing. He gets around him, and I mean, it wasn't even like he had to work hard. He just runs right around him, and it was like the fifth fastest time a edge rusher got to a quarterback in 2024 was the stat. Caleb strip sack, Vikings get the ball in Chicago territory. That summarizes the Caleb Williams 2024 experience. I hope they have a much better 2025, but it was just a tumultuous 2024 season for the Bears. Let's see. ISO Miami, appreciate the super chat. Appreciate it. Ryan, are the Vikings in a bad scenario? Are Vikings in a bad scenario having to pick a quarterback? Absolutely not. And we'll get into that in a minute. My whole thing with the Vikings is, and I will say this, I will scream this till I lose my voice, but I think right now Sam Darnold's back in 25. JJ McCarthy's also back. Unless you have an offer from somebody like, and I point to Rand Carthon because I think his job is going to be on the line very soon. He is entering year 3 as the GM, and that is not a good situation for him to be in because the quarterback class stinks, and JJ McCarthy was a better prospect than Shador and Cam will be. So unless you get an offer that's 2 first-round picks, basically a Godfather offer from, we'll say, the Titans or anybody else, you keep both. JJ McCarthy is 21 years old. He was not a 24 going on 25 prospect. He is younger than both Shador and Cam Ward. So unless you get a Godfather offer, they're both are going back. Both are going back. All right. ISO, appreciate the second super chat. Third super on a live stream. Appreciate it. Waiting for. I was waiting for the comment. Oh, we have one good one here. This is from Beezy. All right, here we go. Oh, I love this. Ask this clown why it's now or never for Lamar and not Josh Allen. Okay, and then there's a comment on that. Okay, that I'm a bigot. Okay, so let's discuss this here. I love this, by the way. Let's discuss this. This is from Beezy. So why it's now or never for Lamar is because Lamar is 2-4 in the playoffs. 6 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 75.7 passer rating. Josh Allen, on the other hand, has 21 touchdowns to 4 interceptions in 10 career postseason games. They are not close to the same. Lamar's postseason loss to the Chiefs is a 17-10 home loss, triple coverage interception in a game you put up 10 points. Josh Allen's most iconic moment in the postseason is a game where he threw for nearly 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, which, by the way, in one game would be 67% of what Lamar has done in 6 games. They are not close. That's why. That's why. That's why. You shouldn't have even entertained this stupidity. That's why. I just wanted to just get... I mean, it's just... let's see here. Lamar is 27 years old and the Chiefs are the favorites. Clown. That doesn't have anything to do with Lamar underperforming in a home conference championship game. But anyway, that's why. Daniel, appreciate the member. Appreciate it. Bro is giving Beezy the business. I mean, it's just like, if you're going to... there's no comparison. Which is better? Let's just ask this question: 6 touchdowns, 6 picks, 21 touchdowns, 4 picks. You tell me which is better. That's a real tough one there. I don't know if I can process that one. I don't know if you guys want to help me out with that one, but God. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to Commanders Cowboys. All right, Commanders win. And I got the clown emoji. So really intellectual conversation. So it doesn't go the way you want. You comment a clown emoji. I was still waiting for the which is better, by the way, but 6-6 or 21-4, you tell me. But anyway, we have Commanders Cowboys. So look, the Commanders win. They are the 6th seed. Dallas, there's a really weird situation around Cooper Rush right now where if he plays like 55% of the snaps, I think he's at like 53% right now, that he will get a bonus of like $250,000. And there was talks that because Jerry Jones wouldn't want to pay that bonus to Cooper Rush, that they might start Trey Lance, which that's all weird. Look, I'm just going to look at it like this. The Commanders win. They get the 6th seed. Dallas, while they have played a little bit better down the stretch, and especially they had that 4-game win streak, I don't think they are going to win with the the Commanders' season isn't on the line, but their seeding is. And I will stand by the fact that I think that the Commanders would rather play the Rams in LA than they would go to Philly, knowing what's going to happen in Philly. Dan Quinn's obviously been around the NFC East for several years, and I will stand by that. So I think the Commanders are going to go all out, do everything they can to win this game. And also, although this doesn't exactly have anything to do with the game, it's going to kind of secure Jaden Daniels Rookie of the Year. But the Cowboys, obviously, aside from last week, they had won 4 of 5. And I think they're going to kind of coast to the end of the year. I think they're going to lose this game. And the Commanders, over the past couple of years, I know back in 2022, they usually play pretty well against the Cowboys. So I think they're going to. I know the Cowboys actually beat the Commanders earlier in the year in what was a wild game. It was 34-26 final. It was like a 9-6 game entering overtime. But the Cowboys eventually won. But I think seeding on the line, I'm going to go with the Commanders. I'm curious to where you guys stand on that. All right, I'm actually going to put a poll up for the Commanders Cowboys game here. So let's go ahead. I do want to start a poll here, but I do think Washington is going to win that one. All right, let's see here. Josh Allen isn't better than Cam Newton. All right, there's still a lot of comments going on in the chat. Is this still? I actually was not looking at the comments. Is this still Lamar Josh? CD isn't playing as well. Good call. Good call. All right. Let's see here. All right. Vikings have to extend Darnold. If not, do they take a step back? We'll get to that in a minute. I would say they have to extend Darnold. Appreciate the super chat, Joe Dub. If Lamar wins his 3rd MVP, is he the biggest choker of all time? I don't think so. Like Lamar right now, the thing is I love Lamar. I don't want that to be taken away. Now, if you're going to discuss everything that was discussed prior to what we were just discussing and then personally attack me for something where I'm just pointing out numbers, then I'm going to go back to, again, where the numbers are, which is what they are. So Lamar, I think you actually have to put a little context around some of the playoff losses. The rookie won back in 2018 with the Chargers. Lamar didn't play well, but that was, I'm willing to excuse that one. I really am. The 3-point game in Buffalo is tough to stomach. And then even the one in his second season. But those were when he was 23 years old or younger. So, if you bring up a playoff record at 27 or 28, we're talking about, things that were 5, 6, 7 years ago. But the one thing that you can't deny with Lamar right now, from a sheer legacy standpoint, from all that, is the AFC Championship game last year on his home turf. But I would also argue that Todd Monken choked in that game too. I think that Todd Monken has equal share for that. But it was, I don't think Lamar's the biggest choker of all time personally. And the thing is Lamar still probably has 7, 8, 9 years, maybe even 10 plus years. He's only 27. He'll be 28. I know he has like a birthday in I want to say the early half of the year, like January through July somewhere. And he's going to turn 28 next year, but he still has hopefully another 10, 12 years. And he's already, especially if he wins a 3rd MVP, a top, probably 10 player, top 10 quarterback all time. But Let's go ahead and go to 49ers Cardinals. All right. This is actually going to be quick. AK, appreciate the member for 1 month. Appreciate it. You know me, got to show support. I do. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Shout out 1 month. Absolutely. Appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. All right. We're still actually going with Lamar and Josh Allen in the comments. All right. Anyway, we're just going to keep rolling here. All right, 49ers Cardinals. 49ers Cardinals. So the 49ers are 6-10. I will say one thing about the 49ers positively in what's been a just devastating year for them. They've had tragedy, they've had injuries, you name it, it's happened to the 49ers this year. Unfortunately. I mean, that is not like to make light of anything. You name it, it happened to them this year. And I thought they came out with a lot of fight. Now, I have some questions about Jake Moody and what they're going to do with the kicker situation this offseason. They spent a third-round pick less than 2 years ago on Jake Moody. They drafted him nearly 100 spots ahead of Puka Nacua, who also plays in the NFC West. Not that Puka has relevance, it's just kind of to show that taking a kicker in the third round is not good strategy. That's kind of what I'm showing there. The 49ers played with a lot more heart than I thought they were going to against the Lions. I thought there was a chance they'd just come out, say, we're done, and not roll over, but just kind of, all right, let's just not get anybody hurt, and whatever happens, happens. So I do want to credit the 49ers for that. Again, it's been a terrible year for them, and the Cardinals, I would say, kind of bounced back to where I thought they were going to be this year. If you would have said heading into the year that they were going to be 7-10 or 8-9, I would have believed that. I would not have liked, nobody would have liked that they were 6-4 and now they're 7-9. And that is a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow. For the Cardinals, I am hoping that they win this game to finish the year with a win. Because if you look at their only win since their bye week is against the Patriots, who are going to have a top 5 pick. Ultimately, I am going to go with the Cardinals to win this game. There's not a lot to preview. We're going to be talking more about offseason than we are with anything else with both of these teams because obviously they're both eliminated. But I did want to shout out the 49ers for the effort they played with and also acknowledge that they have several tough decisions coming up, including one, I think, on Deebo Samuel, on whether to keep him on the roster, and then, of course, whether to pay Brock Purdy. And I think they're going to. It's just going to be a matter of how much. All right. Let's go ahead and delete the poll here, by the way. All right. Lamar is, appreciate the super chat, Speedy, by the way. Lamar is the NFL James Harden. Let's see here. Gives you a 60-point triple doubles and then disappears in the playoffs. I will say, I am from Maryland. I love Lamar. I love Lamar. I love Lamar. But this is this is the final year because of everything. You know what? I'm just gonna throw the Ravens logo back on the screen for a minute because let's just discuss the. I do actually want to discuss the Ravens for a second, and then we'll get to the Chiefs Broncos. But with Lamar and the Ravens, you look at Derrick Henry, you look at Mark Andrews, you look at Todd Monken, who is probably gone. If I'm a Bears, if I'm a Jags, I am looking at Todd Monken if I don't get Ben Johnson. Todd Monken should be an NFL head coach. I will stand by that I think he should be a head coach. So when I say it's now or never for Lamar, it does not mean that in 2029, 2030, with a brand new core group of guys, that there's zero chance that Lamar wins the Super Bowl because nobody knows that. But when I say it's now or never, Derrick Henry, nor anybody, is getting younger. Mark Andrews has a lot of health concerns already, and he also went through a couple personal things this year. But Derrick Henry is, guys, we're going to have a conversation about Derrick Henry. He is in year 9 as a running back. I know he's an outlier because he's an edge rusher at running back based on his size. But I don't think Derrick Henry's going to rush for 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns next year the way he did this year. So when it's now or never, I don't think you are going to have the type of impact you had from Derrick Henry, from Mark Andrews, who had double-digit touchdowns this year, and you also have to deal with that Ronnie Stanley's probably leaving in free agency. So that's when I say it's now or never. Those are the kinds of things that I point to. That's where I stand on that. Darren, appreciate the super chat as well. Do what you do best. Don't let a few dumb comments. Oh, we're good, man. We are good. I love going back and forth. I love chirping. I love chirping. So that's That's the thing. I love chirping. Appreciate the super chat. And on Twitter especially, Twitter is the ultimate I love chirping. So if people are going to say stuff, then I love to, I love chirping. Is Beasley still in here, by the way? Oh, he is. Let's see here. I can't wait till Lamar sends the Bills home. I can't effing wait. like I said, I love Lamar. I would welcome that. Although I like Josh Allen a lot too. I like both players a lot. But if Lamar, all I'm going to say is this. If Lamar and the Ravens go to the Super Bowl this year, they're presumably going to have to beat the Bills and Chiefs both in Buffalo and Kansas City on the way to New Orleans. That would shut everyone up if the Ravens did that. That would get everybody off Lamar's back. If he went from 2-4 in the playoffs to, unless he laid a complete egg in the Super Bowl, that would be different. But he would be 5-4 in the playoffs at that point heading into the Super Bowl. So Lamar has the chance this year. But this is the last, not the last year, because again, he's only 27, but this is for this core specifically. It's now or never. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be the same player next year. Father Time is going to have a word with Derrick Henry at some point. All right, let's go here. Chiefs, Broncos. Broncos are 10.5 point favorites for a reason. I will say this, by the way, about the Broncos. I don't think the line should be 10.5 points. That's the main one. I'm just surprised that the line is that high. More than anything, I think I would take the Chiefs 10.5. I am actually really surprised by that the line is that high. Even if Carson Wentz is playing, I'm not going to sit here and talk about, how Nick Bonito is going to work his way back to the quarterback because he sees that Carson Wentz drops back at a 7-step drop and he can work at a 62-degree angle around the right tackle and he can use his speed to power move and bat the right tackle's arms down and he can get a strip sack and do all this other technical football jargon. I'm not going to talk about that. I just don't think that the Broncos are nearly 2 touchdowns better than the Chiefs with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is not great, I would imagine, but nobody knows. I feel like 10.5 points is a lot. Broncos are fighting for the playoffs. I think they're going to win for sure, but it's the 10.5 point line. Just that's a lot. Winning in for the Broncos at home. Bo Nix, 29 total touchdown rookie season. I think the Broncos are going to win. I believe that's what's up. Believe, love the believe comments. Love the Bo-Leave comments. Who is the GEQBUS? That is none other than Sam Darnold, baby. We'll get to the Vikings and Lions in a minute. Here's the deal, though. I'm going to skim through these last couple games because these are mostly backups. But greatest emperor quarterback of the United States, general, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about. GEQBUS, baby. All right. Let's see here. Dolphins, Jets. The Dolphins are starting Snoop Huntley. The Jets are... Aaron Rodgers is actually at 499, so I think there's a chance that Devontae Adams scores this week to try to get Rodgers to 500. The Dolphins are only favored by 1, though. So it's not... I don't think it is automatically the Jets are going to roll over and that the Dolphins are going to win by 2 touchdowns. I think this is actually going to be a pretty close game. Now, in terms of, the quality of football... It's probably something else, but I do think this will be a close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think either team is going to come out firepower-wise and put up 30-plus points. I think it's going to be like a 20-17 final. I hope for the Dolphins' sake they win, but the Dolphins are a team that I just think from the start of the 2024 season were set up to fail, and we will, like I said, they're going to be a team that we absolutely discuss in a couple of days. But if in the scenario, this is where I stand with the Dolphins, kind of no matter what happens. If the Dolphins win and if somehow the Chiefs beat the Broncos, because what's funny is Carson Wentz has like 4 teams playoff chances in his hands when he takes the field Sunday. But if the Dolphins make the playoffs, I think they are they are literally playing 60 more minutes of football, and that's it. I'm not impressed by this Dolphins team at all. I think they are the definition of a wild card round exit if they even get that far. But let's go ahead and go to Chargers Raiders. Chargers are favored by 5. I think they're going to win. Their scenario is they can get the 5 seed. The 5 seed is obviously huge this year because there's a significant difference between the Texans and then the Ravens in the first round. There's no doubt that the Chargers would rather play the Texans than they would the Ravens at this point. No doubt. They win, and I think it's they win and the Steelers lose. They get the 5 seed, and the Bengals play the Steelers, which I do think the Bengals will win. So the Chargers have every incentive to win and then to play the Texans in the wild card round, which I think is what's going to happen. The Raiders are probably going to lose. Finish the year 4-13. This might be the game that'll get Antonio Pierce fired. I think AP should be gone. But that is there's just not a lot to say about this game. I just think the Chargers are going to win. Gotta love how the Raiders are probably going to go 0-6 in the division. I don't think Raiders fans love that personally, but I think that is unfortunately the reality. All right. Let's go to Seahawks. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Let's go to Seahawks-Rams. Seahawks are favored by 6.5 for a reason. I just want to pull this up specifically because I saw Schefter tweet this. So I want to... Where is the Schefter tweet here? I want to get this exact. So let's go ahead and pull this up. Schefter for the Rams tweeted, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Alaric Jackson, Kevin Dotson, and Rob Havenstein. That is 7 starters out for the Rams Sunday. Not a lot to say. Seahawks are going to finish with 10 wins, not make the playoffs. That is really unfortunate. That is really unfortunate for Seattle to have double-digit wins and not make the playoffs. But that's, I mean, guys, they're going to beat them. Good for the Rams to have a game where they can rest their starters. But I would imagine most of us feel the same way. There's 7 starters out. You're going to get Jimmy G, I think Jimmy G in that game. So Jimmy G, Blake Corum. I'll actually watch to see how Blake Corum does, but I think this is what we're here for. I think this is what we're here for, right? Is this, yeah, there's no way the Seahawks get in because the Packers and Commanders each have 11 wins. Seahawks only have 9, so there's no way. And the Rams clinched last week because they beat like the Vikings and Bills and somebody else, so they won by like they won by like winning percentage over other opponents or something. So the Seahawks are in. All right, here we go. All right, you guys know, if you don't know, welcome. I'm a Vikings fan. I'm going to preview the Lions first because I started this channel, back in 2019, and the 2019 Vikings, they had 11 wins. They beat the Saints in the wild card round of the playoffs, and then they got smoked by the 49ers. Then in 2022, they lost in the wild card round. They were a 13-win team. They weren't a true 13-win team. That everybody knew it. I'm going to say this. I'll get to the Vikings in this. Well, I'm all in. I'm all in on the Vikings. I do not say that often. I rarely say that. But each team is 14-2 for a reason. However, I'm going to discuss the Lions first. They and Ben Johnson are elite. They've won 14 games for a reason. They are one of the best offenses in the NFL for a reason. Ben Johnson has admittedly had Brian Flores' number over the past, not just game, but couple of games, dating back, to the 2023 season. He's had Brian Flores' number. The Lions, they've cooked the Vikings offensively. They beat them 31-29 at US Bank earlier in the year. Now, I know Vikings fans would like me to point out that if Sam Darnold completes a pass late in the game, the Vikings win, and the Vikings right now are 15-1, and the Lions are 13-3. But that didn't happen. And here we are, 1 seed on the line for each team. I will say this, if there is one take that I have prior to this game being played, this applies to both. Whichever team loses, so does their Super Bowl chances. I'm also a believer that whichever team wins this game is going to the Super Bowl. Because you get that first round bye, you get that extra week off, you only have to win 2 home games and you're there. And what is also key to remember for both teams, they each had early buys. And Detroit had the earliest bye imaginable back in week 5. Detroit needs to win this game. They need this game. And the Vikings do too, but Detroit is banged up. Everybody knows they're banged up. Now, even with David Montgomery out, their offense still scares me a lot. They have Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think is one of the best running backs in football. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is just, he is electric. He is so fun to watch. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have Jameson Williams. They have Sam Laporta. They somehow are the beneficiaries of the Broncos making a stupid decision to release Tim Patrick. And Tim Patrick has had a really solid year for the Lions. I'm actually kind of annoyed that the Broncos released Tim Patrick because now my team has to play him with the 1 seed on the line. I never understood that one, to not keep Tim Patrick with the rookie quarterback and Bo Nix, but that's whatever. So the Lions offense scares me. Now, the thing with the Vikings is they are I mean, they need to make 2 or 3 defensive stops against this team. And that's been tough whenever these teams play because Ben Johnson has had Brian Flores' number and then some over the past couple of games. Now, allow me to put on my homer cap because I don't get to do this often. Right back. All right, we are back. And I also have a little something for the people I brought today. I've had this for years. I was never actually going to wear this, but we have to, 1 seed on the line, we have to call all the dogs in for a chance to win. We have to call all the dogs in, 1 seed's on the line. We have to bring out the horns. We have to bring out the horns. The 1 seed is on the line. I'm scared. I am very scared of this game. Like, Lions fans are not allowed to listen to this part. I am very scared of the Lions. Their offense is frightening. I know they're very banged up on defense. They're favored for a reason. And they lost to the Bills and Bucks, and that's it. And the Vikings lost to the Lions back in week 7 and the Rams on Thursday night. Now, I will say that, playing the Lions and then having to play the Rams on Thursday night is not a strategic advantage. The Steelers had to do that with the Ravens and Browns on Thursday night. I hate the division games and then a Thursday night. But anyway, look, the Vikings have had a magical season. I mean, whether it was Van Ginkel, multiple pick sixes, whether it was Jonathan Grenard, multiple strip sacks, whether it's Sam Darnold, 35 touchdowns, whether it's Kevin O'Connell, you see the way that Kevin O'Connell treats his players. The Vikings are 3-point underdogs, and obviously you guys know I'm a Vikings fan. I am looking forward to this game. I can't wait for Sunday night at 8:20, but when it comes hell or high water, I'm not going to bet against the Lions at home. So I'm not going to bet against the Lions at home. But I think the Lions are going to win, but it's going to be one hell of a game. It is going to be one hell of a game. Let's see, super chat here. The Kirby Pro Bowl snub genuinely makes me happy. Branch is one of my favorite players in the league, though, so good for him. Brian Branch is a beast, man. Brian Branch is an animal. He is awesome. Lions win 27-24. I think it'll be like 31-28. I think it'll be 31-28. Do you have to believe in your squad? I do. I 100% do. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you follow me on Twitter, I will be convincing myself that we're going to win by game time. But right now, Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern time, I'm going to go Lions. But Sunday at 8:20, the Vikings are going to win. So they're going to win. All right, let's see here. I've been hating on the Vikings all season, but they're a scary team. Could definitely go all the way. Look, I'm saying this. If the Vikings win this game, same with the Lions, by the way. This applies to both. If they win, they're going to the Super Bowl. And then we're going to... if the Vikings go to the Super Bowl, I've never seen it. I've literally never seen it. So, all right. What's my stance on Blake Cashman? He's an animal. He's awesome. He is awesome. I love Blake Cashman. I love Blake Cashman coming out of Minnesota back in 2019 draft. Still love him now. I love Blake Cashman. All right, let's see here. Who is my random bench warmer that nobody knows about? Like, are we talking all time or what are we talking? Like right now? Like on the Vikings? I mean, I can name several bench warmers that nobody's probably ever heard of from the Vikings all time. Can I stream the game? I am not. That's going to be guys. Like if I stream the game, I will literally be it's not going to be professional at all. It's going to be just straight up like yelling the entire time. It's going to be yelling the entire time. Like there's not going to be like, okay, here's a great play by the Lions. It's going to be like get his ass. Come on, it's not going to be. It would not be. I mean, it would probably be entertaining. I'll say that. All right. If the Vikings, what are we talking about? AK, I'm going to need you to clarify that. Who does the 1 seed play in the NFC Championship game? I think it's going to be the Eagles. I think it's going to be Eagles, Lions, Eagles, Vikings. All right. It won't be peaceful in my house either. This game is going to be cinema. The peak cinema mean that this is what this is going to be. It's going to be peak cinema. All right, okay. Appreciate the super chat, H. Brazzy. Whoever wins this game goes to New Orleans to get clapped by the Ravens or Chiefs. I don't know about that, man. You got me. You know what? I'm thinking the more. I mean, I said by Sunday at 8 o'clock that I'm going to pick the Vikings to win, but I'm I might be on that now. I like when my teams get doubted. I like when my team gets doubted. I really do. And I like the fact that we're underdogs heading into this one. I really do. All right. Am I worried about Hurts' health? Yes, a little bit. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Eagles going to the Super Bowl. We'll see, Daniel. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you being a member, but we'll see. All right. Let's see here. What bottom feeder do you think is headed the best direction? I want to pull up all of the bottom feeders right now. There's only 8 teams to choose from. So Patriots, Browns, Giants, Bears, 49ers, Panthers, Raiders, Titans. I'm going to exclude the 49ers because they're not that's not a true bottom feeder, I feel like. I would say out of the 7, I feel like the Patriots. There's a couple decisions they have to make, but they have $100+ million cap dollars. They can really get it right this offseason. All right, let's see here. I can already hear waiting all day for Sunday night as I crack open a Blue Moon. I love that. I personally do not drink, but I will definitely need to calm the nerves for this game. I will say that. I am going to be, like I said, follow on Twitter if you're not already, because it's going to be, I'm going to be standing up for most of the game. I'm going to say that. I will be standing up for most of the game. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I'm actually going to take the horns off now, but I am ready for the game. Hopefully, I brought the horns. The horns had to be brought out for the 1 seed. The horns had to have been brought out for the 1 seed. I don't bring them out often, but they had to be for the 1 seed. Oh man, guys, I'm ready for the game. What do I got to see your chat, AK? Let's see here. I'm not, AK, I see it. I'm not, if the Vikings, yeah, I see it, AK. Jalen Redmond will win the game for the Vikings and a touchdown-saving TFL. You heard it here first. I love Jalen Redmond. He's been a beast, man. I like Jalen Redmond a lot. All right, the AFC has more superstar quarterbacks, but the top NFC teams have more well-rounded rosters. I would agree. This kid is like 16, lol. I'm 26. I'm a man. I feel like SpongeBob, where he says, I shave, I'm a man. Yeah, I'm 26, thank you. Although I do get that a lot. I appreciate that, by the way. I'll take it, because that means when I'm 40 that I'll look like I'm 26. I'll take it. You want to say that I look 16? I'll take it. That's fine. Let's see here. I am praying for the Vikes to go all the way. Me too. I mean, hey, look, if we win, if we win, I will go to the parade. I don't care. Content it'll have to be paused for a couple of days because I will go to the parade if the Vikings win. So definitely. Let's see. Here's $5. Tell the truth about Hurts being no different than Purdy or any other regular dude that needs a super stacked team to succeed. So appreciate the super chat. Although I like Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen a lot. I actually also like Brock Purdy a lot too. I think Brock is underappreciated to a degree. I think Brock is a really underrated. Well, it depends, because there's some people that will overrate the crap out of Brock, but I think he's underrated. I think he's underappreciated. And I also think that you can see the difference between Jalen Hurts and then what you saw in the Commanders game without him. I think Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. Now, in terms of top 5, no, he's not top 5, but I think Jalen, obviously he's a beneficiary of having the offensive line and then AJ and then Smitty and then Saquon, but I think he is a really solid quarterback, personally. Do you think Purdy is going to get a bag? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Will the Vikings... Somebody asked, by the way, if I'm worried about Will Reichard. I'm not. I'm not worried about Will Reichard right now. I'm not. And I wanted to address whoever said that. All right, let's see here. Do you think Eli will get into the Hall? Yes, I think he will. There's several reasons. A multiple-time Super Bowl champion, multiple-time Super Bowl MVP. People aren't going to like this, but he's also a Manning. So that also plays into it. He's also top 10 in a lot of categories all time. Now, I know if you want to have the conversation of, was he ever top 4 or 5 at his position in the NFL? And the answer is no. But I think Eli gets in. I don't know about first ballot, but I definitely think he gets in at some point. Am I confident in Reichard? Yes. Yep. You got to have confidence in your guys. Let's see here. Love the content. Don't go changing. We're not. We are same old. I'm nervous for this game, man. I am very nervous for this game. In 5 more years, you will be half my age. Joseph, I'm not going to lie. I thought you were younger. Younger. I know you comment a lot. I thought you were younger. I'm not going to lie. Let's see here. Jalen Hurts officially out. So is Kenny. I did see Kenny's out as well. All right. Let's see here. Shoveling the snow. Yeah, it's just Thankfully, snow didn't land. I'm going to be honest. Shoveling snow is not fun. For those who live in the South that have never had to shovel snow, I envy you. Shoveling snow, no bueno. All right, let's see here. Somebody said something about a zin. Do I zin every time the Vikings get into the end zone? No, I don't. I don't zin. I don't. None of that. Nope. Oh, my guy, Sammy. The legend. The legend. All right, here we go. What did the Steelers need to do to take that next step into the AFC elites? And then he adds bro onto the end of the comment. All right, what's up, Sammy? I would say, Sammy, I'm going to be honest. I hate to say it, but I think the Steelers are just, I think they're in a pretty helpless situation. Well, not helpless. I would just say like a pretty hopeless situation because let's run through this, right? Russell Wilson is not bad. He's not a bottom tier starter. You don't look at Russell Wilson and think 2023 Desmond Ridder or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Nobody thinks that, right? But you don't think, man, can a 35 or 36-year-old Russ play at the level Lamar, Joe Burrow, or Josh Allen has this year? And then, of course, don't forget about Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be at those guys' levels, right? So then you ask the question, all right, well, what do they do? They're not going to be able to trade up to get Shador or Cam Ward, and I also don't have a lot of confidence in either of those guys to even get to the level that Russ is at now. So what can the Steelers actually do? What, try and run it with Justin Fields? I mean, that's probably your best option, but I don't think they would do that. I think that would probably be the best option, but I think they're going to run it back with Russ. And then TJ Watt is, he's 30 now? He's born in 94 or somewhere in there, so he's right around 30. Cam Hayward's 35. I mean, I don't know what the Steelers do, man. I really don't. I think they're in one of just a bad situation. I really do. I think they're going to be continuous. They haven't had the losing record, so 9-8, 10-7, 9, just somewhere in there. Let's see here. I'm a hater, so I'm just going to ignore what I saw and call him regular either way. I mean, we need that. I respect that. I think Purdy is better than him as well, but not underrated. Okay, that's fair. I like Purdy a lot. I will say one underrated part of Purdy's game that I think is not talked about enough. And obviously, when you think of the scrambling quarterbacks, you're going to think of Lamar and Josh and Jalen Hurts, and you get the point, right? But one underrated part of Purdy's game is he has really underrated mobility inside the pocket. And Brock has one of my favorite features in a quarterback's game, which is what I call scoot, just the ability to, scoot out of a bad situation. And I want to say his 10-yard split at the combine was like in the 97th percentile, but his 40 was in maybe the 40th percentile or something. So his acceleration is incredible. I like Brock a lot. But no, I do like Brock, and he's to me an underappreciated player. Do you write, record, and edit all videos yourself? I have slowly brought on a couple of people to the team. Slowly. But it's still mostly me, but there's a couple of people that definitely contribute and they know what they do, and I appreciate everything that they do. And we are working on adding another editor. So we're working on it. But it's been a grind, I'll say that. It's crazy how you make an hour fly by. Thanks for everything. Appreciate you being here. Good luck with everything. Good luck with the Texans. And, All right, let's see here. All right, which teams in the top 5 are drafting a quarterback? I'm a Giants fan, and I'm very scared of the Giants having the 4th pick. So let's pull up Tankathon right now. Let's. I see you guys comment. Whether it's Flying or Ariana, I see you guys. Let's pull up the old Tankathon real quick. All right. Do you think the Vikings should keep Byron Murphy? I do. He's had a great year. He's actually a Pro Bowler. So I think they should. But let's pull up the old Tankathon here for the Giants. They're selecting 4th right now. I actually think they'll be fine where they are. They have to lose, though. They have to lose to the Eagles. They have to lose to Tanner McKee, which is, I don't know about that. New England, this is all, I mean, I feel like I'd answer this question better after week 18. I don't want to answer it Friday and have 6 different things change. But they may have to trade up a little bit, maybe to 2, maybe. But I don't think the Giants are in as hopeless or helpless as a situation as people think. What do you think needs to happen for the Vikings to make the Super Bowl? Win Sunday. All right. Let's see here. Glad you're having a good, fun year. Mine was miserable. Just want it to be over. Yeah, it's been, well, football, I'm assuming we're talking about. Yeah, it's been a good season. It's been my most fun season since 2017 by far. All right. Let's see. I'm worried about Tank. I am too. So Tank, he dislocated his knee. He tore a couple of things in his knee. Now, like, he tore his ACL, he tore his, I'm going to say LCL and something else. And there was also, like, I want to say meniscus maybe or something. I dislocated my knee, but that was it. I thankfully just dislocated the knee. I didn't have, like, the 5 other things that Tank did. I was very fortunate, and I can only speak on the dislocation part in terms of the recovery for that. I can't speak on anything else. But it was, I wish Tank the best, truly. All right. Let's see here. What do you think about Trent McDuffie not getting into the Pro Bowl? The Pro Bowl is what it is. It is what it is. We all feel the same way. A lot of the times it's a popularity contest. A lot of the times. But I don't really have too many comments other than that. Let's see here. Flying. Can you comment one more time for me here real quick? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're saying. One more. Give it to me one more. Give it to me one more. There we go. All right. What do you think about this Texans and CJ Stroud this season in their future? There we go. We got it. I got what you're saying. I got it that time. Let's see here. All right. So, what do I think about the Texans with CJ Stroud in their future? It concerns me because of the offensive line. The offensive line concerns me, but I also have some concerns regarding Bobby Slowick. I don't know what they're going to do there. And I also think you have to ask the question of, I mean, are they ever going to be good enough? Obviously, they have the floor, but are they going to be a 12 or 13 or 14 win team and be enough? It's one thing to go. I say this not to dismiss what they're doing, but to show how difficult it is. It is much easier to go from where they were at the start of the 23 season, which was bad. Number 2 overall pick, bad. It's much easier to go from there to a 9-win team and go to the playoffs than it is to go from a 9 or 10-win team to heavily competing in the AFC. And they're not heavily competing in the AFC. So that's what I worry. That is really what I worry. All right. The dislocated knee stopped me from being a top 50 selection. Exactly. That would actually be pretty cool to go on TV one day and just talk about that. Like, that was what stopped me. That was actually what hindered me. Yeah, that was it. Our play calling is buns and our O-line is cheeks. Definitely agree with both. Texans fan, you of course know it better than anybody in here, and any other non-Texans fans. But it frustrates me, man. Who is my MVP? I'd probably say in terms of true most valuable player, in terms of what they mean to the team, I would say Josh, because I don't think the Bills are anywhere close to where they are without Josh. I think the Ravens still have an offensive player of the year candidate in their team in Derrick Henry, and that is where I would vote. But I also want to say that it's not like 100 Josh, 0 Lamar. It's like 51-49, and I will say if you vote Lamar for the MVP, I have zero problem with that at all. Like, I'm not going to throw fists about Lamar winning the MVP, but like I said, I would go Josh in terms of the true most valuable player. But that is where I would stand on that. But I love both players, and I think that both. I mean, there's not going to be a co-MVP, but I would be fine with it. I really would. All right, let's see here. All right, let's go to a couple here. Jared Goff, not the MVP. I would have gone number 1 overall as a kicker if I didn't snap my middle toe. Okay. Actually, those comments are hilarious. There was something else. Somebody said about stubbing their toe in 8th grade. I saw that. Where was it? Anyway, there it is. I stubbed my pinky toe in 6th grade. I would have gone pro. That happens. That definitely happens. Let's see here. Do the Giants get a receiver in free agency? We'll break all that down in a video coming up. I would say not Diggs or Godwin, just because I think they're going to have different, like, Diggs or Godwin. No offense. Why would you want to go there? No offense to Giants fans, but like, why would you want to go to New York? That's kind of where I would stand on that one. If you were Diggs or Godwin, when you can go to New England and have Drake May, or you can even, Godwin can stay in Tampa. I'm sure Godwin at this point would probably take a slight discount to stay in Tampa and stay with Baker and stay in the warm weather. So I would say no. Let's see here. My ideal matchup for the Vikings in the Super Bowl. I mean, people are not going to like this one, but my ideal matchup. The Carson Wentz-led Chiefs beat the Broncos. The Dolphins beat the Jets. The Dolphins surprise everyone, and the Dolphins end up in the Super Bowl. I think the Vikings would be able to handle the Dolphins very easily, and I think they'd be Super Bowl champions. Now, if you want an actual answer, I think I would rather play... I'm going to say between the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs. Out of those three, I think it would probably go... Probably Bills, Chiefs, Ravens in that order, as I think is how it would go. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but... The Ravens with Lamar and Derrick Henry admittedly scare me. And Josh, I think the Vikings would match up fine against, especially with the linebackers. So I think it would go in that order. All right. I think that is going to... That's gonna wrap up. That's gonna wrap up today's stream. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Appreciate everyone being in here. Hopefully you guys are having a great start to the year. And if you're not, then hopefully this hour took, hopefully it brightened your day up a little bit. So until next time. There's not going to be a normal weekly recap Sunday night because I'm not going to do the editing during the Vikings game. That's just not. I mean, no, the 1 seed is on the line, so it's not going to be a normal recap. But I'll catch you guys next time, and like always, as always, until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.